Welcome to Comic Book Overview, where everyone can come and indulge in all things comic related, whether it be movies, TV shows, cartoons, video games, or just comics themselves. If you love comic books, then show it by hitting that subscribe button to help this precious media that we all love thrive and flourish. What? I'm not sure I'm reading this right. Spider-Man's Tangled Web. First 3 issues written by the great Garth Ennis? The man who brought us Preacher, The Boys, and the long run on Punisher Max wrote a Spider-Man story? Does it have obscene sex, gratuitous violence, adult language all throughout? Well, I'm happy to say no on all 3 accounts. But I will say this. It doesn't necessarily feel like your run-of-the-mill Spider-Man comic either. What we get, I believe, is just an inbound compromise between Garth and the editors of the Spider-Man books. But hey, new writers bring new ideas, and thus new adventures to an old tale, so to speak. With all that said, let's take a look on the inside of the first 3 issues of Spider-Man's Tangled Web, titled The Thousand. Sitting in a booth, a middle-aged, chubby white male sits alone, staring out the front window of the diner. To the average passerby, there's nothing to see. But if you look closer, you will notice that he has the mark of the spider in his eyes. While just outside in the street, Spider-Man and the Rhino are dancing the same dance that they have done for so many years. It is like an old, stale relationship. By this time, it feels though as if they are just going through the paces. Spidey taunts the Rhino, angers him, and uses his own strength against him. And in the end, as usual, it is the Rhino who defeats himself. The man in the booth, as you would expect some citizens to do, envies the wall crawler, stating it should be him in the red and blue suit, spinning the web, defeating the high-powered bad guys. It should be him soaking up all the people's accolades. At first, it just sounds like normal fanboy idolizing, until the man says the true name of our hero, revealing that he knows a little more than most about the webhead. It seems that back in the day while in middle school, the husky Carl King bullied the scrawny, nerdy kid known only then as Peter Parker, dunking his head in the toilet, pelting him in the face with balls, and beating him badly when he didn't do what Carl said. It went on like this for Peter up until high school, until that one fateful day when, while everyone else was observing a science experiment, an arachnid dropped down from the ceiling on a web and bit him, giving Peter special powers. Carl, not caring much for the experiment, saw this event and witnessed from a distance Peter learning to the extent of his newfound abilities. From his mesmerizing leaps to his wall-crawling abilities, and even Peter's victory over the professional wrestler known as Joseph Crusher Hogan on that most auspicious of nights. Intrigued and most certainly jealous of Parker's abilities, Carl went back to that same lab where Peter was bit, and as fate would have it, he found that very same spider. But it was in no condition to administer its venom to Carl in the same way it did Peter. So the high school bully thought of a different way to infect himself with its venom. But the outcome for Carl would not be the same. His powers would be much more deadlier and parasitic, infecting all that he comes in contact with. What exactly is his powers? How do they work? And will he use them for the good, for the betterment of mankind, or just to fulfill his own selfish endeavors? For those answers, you would just have to read these 3 issues, as I ranked it a 3.0 out of 5, a good read. Please stop by my YouTube channel, Comic Talk, if you like this video, but others like it. Tap that bell icon before you go. And oh yes, until next time, as always, keep reading, my friends.